Many visitors to Australia's outback have come away with staggering photographs, but Indigenous chef Mark Olive has worked out a way of sharing the colours and flavours of the bush with people from far and wide who may never have the pleasure of visiting this land or meeting the Indigenous people who have passed their cuisine down through the generations.
My whole thing with food started watching my mother and watching my aunts cooking, and my godmother as well, bless them. They've all gone now. But growing up around Northern Rivers, there was lots of lemon, myrtle and wattle seed. Same in Wollongong, being a coastal town. Lots of wattle seed, lots of the greens. So being introduced to that at an early age, going back home to Cabbage Tree Island, where we were from, we were able to pick up those things. And so when I went and started my apprenticeship, which was in the late 70s, and being trained by a European chef, there was a lot of European influence, and able to incorporate things like the wattle seed, kangaroo, emu, and really contemporise those foods for wider Australia, but not only that, globally. And if you come to my place, it might be a filet mignon, but it'll be a filet of kangaroo. It'll be wrapped by an emu prosciutto sitting on a native warrigal green, and covered with, instead of a mushroom sauce, a native pepperberry sauce. So visually it looks like a filet mignon, and when people are presented that, they go, oh yeah, it's not too hard, I understand what this food is, I'll try it, and they'll eat it. And I think that's how I've been able to cross that barrier of bringing ancient food, make it new food, and then create it into a cuisine where people will accept the flavours of Australia. And people who are foodies, they've never tried a lot of this food, things like lemon myrtle, aniseed myrtles, and the bush tomatoes, and the fruits, the muntry berries, the lemon aspens, and also the desert limes. But not only that, kangaroo, emu and crocodile, wallaby and possum is available in this country now, and it's being farmed. You can buy them in supermarkets these days. There are companies around that are utilising the native foods from growers out in Reedy Creek, which is in South Australia. And the growers are Indigenous people, but it's brought into Reedy Creek to be processed and it's distributed. So, it's a viable, economical tool, I suppose, for remote Indigenous people to grow bush tomatoes in the desert. Money goes back, gets processed, so it's keeping a little community alive. People call me a pioneer, and it's very flattering, but the fact is I've been a chef for over 30 years now, and so again it's just adapting, changing, being creative and really experimental with it all, and I think that's the key to it. These foods are very concentrated in their flavours, and utilising them with other chefs and getting them to understand that it is new food, and it is Australian made food, and I think that's important that it is sprigged as that. The world is waking up, especially in our own backyard. It has been documented this food is really old. You go around Kakadu along the cave paintings, there's a whole menu and array of foods that have been discovered. They're very unique to this country. I travel the world working with other chefs, and they see this as new food, and I think that's the exciting thing about it, because Australia's embraced every other culture in this country except what they've got in their own backyard, and I think that's about to change.